Hello, good morning everybody. My name is Nguyen Vinh Loc. I'm a CEO and founder of Daviteq company. My company is one of the leading companies in Vietnam to develop and manufacture the wireless sensor and IoT solution, especially for industrial application. So today I'm very happy to be the moderator for this panel, especially for the manufacturing sector. So I would like to introduce you all the three panelists, and I hope they can share a bit about their position, their role in their enterprise. Mr. Host.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Truong Duy Ho. I'm currently a software development idea business of event Ho Chi Minh. Ho Chi Minh City of Public Operations is one of the 5 distribution units belong to the EVS, who is in charge of providing powers to the Ho Chi Minh cities. We currently have 24 subsidiaries with over 7.4 thousand employees, and we are serving more than 2.5 million customers in Ho Chi Minh cities. Thank you.
Hello, good morning everyone. My name is Duc from Daviteq. So for Daviteq, we're here to represent the industrial park developers. So for us, we are the leading industrial park developer in Vietnam through the names of Vietnam Singapore Industrial Parks, as well as our own Daviteq develop industrial parks in the country. So basically, we come here because our client base are manufacturer in Vietnam. So we are here to also to contribute our view on how industrial park developers can also play a role in building the ecosystem to help manufacturers to operate, especially in the Industry 4.0 era.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rahul Shinde. I'm CIO for Coca-Cola Vietnam. Coca-Cola Vietnam is part of the global brand called Coca-Cola. Of course, we are present across Vietnam market. We have 3 plants and 5 distribution centers across Vietnam, through which we fulfill to approximately 1 million customers across Vietnam. And we are present across categories such as sparkling drinks, water, juices, and energy drinks. So we are here to talk about our journey through the Industry 4.0 and our future vision.
Thank you for the introduction from 3 panelists. And have you been seeing many years ago, manufacturing is the largest contributor of Vietnam GDP, accounting for 60% of country's GDP. So it is crucial for global enterprise to adopt Industry 4.0 solution. So this panel allows local stakeholders to share about their experience of digitalization and their view on Industry 4.0 in Vietnam. So firstly, I would like to have a question to Coca-Cola, to Rahul. Coca-Cola has been pursuing digital transformation since the past few years, globally across different business functions. How do you see Industry 4.0 and what are some of the projects Coca-Cola Vietnam is pushing at the moment?
Sure. So Industry 4.0 has been a buzzword, so to say, in the last couple of years. But it's not something that's new for Coca-Cola. We always strive for automation and providing better consumer and customer experience. The way we look at Industry 4.0 is not just about connecting devices and sensors. Yes, that's the foundation part of it. But for us, Industry 4.0 technologies offer a unique opportunity for us to connect our entire ecosystem of our customers, of our suppliers, of our consumers, and we have a lot of leading sort of practices which have been in operation across the world, and we are trying to bring that to Vietnam. Just to give you some insights into what we are trying to do as part of our 4.0 initiative. So we are looking at digitization from 4.0 perspective across our front end, which is customer side as well as our backend, which is a digital factory. The presentation we saw from Minh was fantastic. So from customer side, as you know, Coca-Cola provides cold drinks, and we provide our customers coolers, and we have approximately 100,000 coolers currently in the market. And for us, it's an important asset, and we want to be able to track. So as first step, we started putting IoT sensors in our coolers, so we were able to track where our coolers are, and which customers they're selling at, and how we best leverage our ability to influence customers to that. But as we evolve along this journey, we are actually now starting to analyze data from our coolers to really predict patterns of which areas of the city the customer are buying more, which supermarkets are selling which product. And we deployed IoT, we deployed facial recognition, photo recognition, and we collecting data and we putting it on our cloud to analyze that. So we are doing a lot of these projects to really enhance our user experience for the end consumer. And on the supply chain side, we are looking at digital factory. So our plants in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City at the moment are going through the automation initiative, where we are looking at how we can predict the automation, predict the failure of parts and improve efficiencies of lines. So those are some of the initiatives that we are doing in Vietnam. But globally, we have done a lot of strides in terms of really connecting our consumers and using our front-end coolers and our vending machines to gather important consumer data and analyzing that. So we have a great example with, let's say, China, where people can scan their WeChat app and they can get coupons and offers right then we're passing through the cooler. Similar in Japan, we have an initiative called Coupon, where if somebody's walking next to the cooler, we can propose on their mobile phone various offers. So there are a lot of good practices that are happening around the world, and will bring to Vietnam soon.
Thank you. Can you conclude or summarize for us the most big challenges you face during deploying an IoT solution?
Yeah, I think in any digitization exercise, I think the most challenge revolve around people. People are the most important part of massive change of this size. And for us, I think the two critical challenges are reskilling or upskilling people capability, whether it comes to the sales reps who are selling in the market out there, or our plant technicians who are operating our machines. How do we increase their ability to really scan and use features like tablets? So those are the areas where we do see challenges, and we need to invest more in these people. And the second part is around the technology itself, in the sense that while Vietnam is still developing, and we do have very good connectivity across many cities, but yeah, there are some connectivity challenges, especially when we are trying to link about 1 million customers. So those are the two challenges where I see that we need to take more strides.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Đức and Mr. Hùng, how about your idea about what Coca-Cola they have been done so far? And do you have any comment or solution also from your side?
Yeah, thank you for the sharing from Coca-Cola. And in Ho Chi Minh City Power Corporations, we easily define that the industrial 4.0 features let the device speak more to us, and we are the one do less, we just do decisions from what they offer for us. So from a couple of years, we have the projects of applying the achievement of IoT of Industrial 4.0 throughout the events to Ho Chi Minh City Power Corporations. There are several projects that we have done so far. Lately, we have put our AI chatbot into our websites and to our mobile applications to increase the customer experience. And secondly, we have set up automation reading, manual reading system to on over 940,000 over 2.5 million customers in Ho Chi Minh cities to get the data, to analyze it and to put it to the billing system automatically. And later on, we have put into a system like the automation distribution system, so that we can control the 22 kV medium voltage line network, electrical network, in order to increase our power supply needs, reliabilities. And recently we have built our DR system, which is demand response system. It just experimental projects with Japan. We can calculate and we can change the power capacities from the block A to block B so that it can be provides more reliability to power network for the block A to block B.
So for Daviteq, our business is not about manufacturing, but our business is about B2B service to provide service to our manufacturer, which is the investor into Vietnam from overseas or from local manufacturers. So maybe we are going to share about digitalization in Daviteq operation, and then after that we also to share about how our positioning ourselves in the new era, so that we can support manufacturers in Vietnam, not only in our industrial parks to engage in the Industry 4.0 revolutions. In terms of business operations, so Daviteq already started our digitalizations about 1 year ago. So actually we are just a very early stage of applying digitals. First, we digitalize our business operation process. So all the procedures in the company now are putting online. So that can enhance the transparency of the business operations, so that everybody in the system become more accountable on what happens. So that is the very first implementations of digitalizations. And from that process, we also can increase our efficiencies because our operations now nationwide. We are not only have operation in our headquarters in Brazil, but we also have our operations in the northerns, like in Hải Phòng, Hải Dương, Bắc Ninh, and also in the central Vietnam, like Nghệ An and Quảng Ngãi. So that is the digitalizations can help us to reduce the distance, so that our information can transfer across the system real times. So in the next 2 phases of digitalization strategy, so we are also looking into 2 key areas. The first one is asset management, because for us, our business is mainly about facility management, how we can ensure the good infrastructures for our manufacturers setting their operation in our industrial parks. So we need to control the waste water supply, wastewater treatments, lightings, security system. So how we are going to create the values from that facility improvements to deliver better quality to our customer, and at the same time to reduce the cost and generate more revenues for our business. And the third strategy is strategic actions is on how we can digitalize our customer engagement from marketing overseas, because most of our customers, 80% of our customers from overseas. So how we can engage them from the digital space, and when it comes to visit us, and in the end they operate inside our industrial parks, how we are going to engage them continuously and generate more insights to support them better, and also to create an ecosystem within our operations. So I think those are the things that, and what are the challenges that we are facing now, I think is when we see digitalizations, we think mostly about technology. But for us, we can see that that is not, technology is the core of the transformations. But along with technology, we need to think about first to identify the business case, because we cannot apply new things without understanding what are the values that they can generate, what are the priorities for the business to implement digital transformations. And then we come to technology. After we identify the area that we can capture the values, then we can go and find out what are the technology applicable to our business needs. And eventually it's come to people or organizations about how the new way of doing things, how the new way of working can be embraced by the people on the ground, from the top executive to the people on the ground, so that everyone supporting it, because every change will have resistance from the people, because they see the new kind of working that will affect the old way of working, and that create a lot of disturbance to what they are doing, they are already familiar with. So that is pretty much about our own transformation journey.
Thank you, Mr. Duc. So we have seen Daviteq, they apply the digital transformation for not only your internal structure, but also you also want to engage to customer services. So to increase the customer services, have you learned any use case or case study from other countries to how to help you to build your new business or business model apply the digital transformation?
I think for us, earlier 20 years ago, when we start to attract FDI to come to the country to industrialize the economy, so we focus mostly on labor-intensive manufacturing activities. And nowadays, when we see that the land and the labor cost competitiveness is no longer around cheap labor and cheap land, but we need to think about how we can move beyond providing infrastructures to become integrated solutions provider. So that is also the very big pictures that we are seeing our business transform gradually. How we can also, earlier we build the ecosystem around manufacturers. So we not only provide land in the industrial parks, but we also provide transportation networks. We provide telecommunication infrastructure. We provide ready-built factory, etc. And also we also look into the software, how we can attract labor from all over the countries to come to Brazil, and also our other industrial parks to play. So we need to provide social housing, we need to provide hospital, we need to provide a vocational training center, university, etc. So that is for the first early phase of industrialization. Now we look into to build the ecosystem, innovation ecosystem, to help and support our tenants or our manufacturers to engage in this industry 4.0 revolutions. To take a few examples first, at the moment, Daviteq also own a university, which is Eastern International University, and we already have the investment in building the factory, the model factories of Industry 4.0 and also Industry 3.0. So that is the training ground, because just now Rahul also mentioned about people is very important to the transformations. So we also support that in a way that we will provide training, upskilling to the labor in manufacturers, so that they can come to the university and then help them to understand and also help them to familiarize with what is Industry 4.0 around and what are the implications and what are the skills that they need to apply. And further than that, we also looking into the bigger pictures about how we can create like the digital capability centers in Vietnam. That can be the place to showcase technology. It can be the place to help technology providers to come and meet with the end user and that can also be the place to training and upgrading skill, like I just mentioned earlier, and also the place for R&D. So because many of the technology solution provider, when it comes to the country, they provide a platform, but in order to customize to the needs of a specific industry, specific company, they need to have a certain kind of customization, and that area is also the platform where we can provide. So for the manufacturer, when they need to think about the idea how they can upgrade themselves so that they can increase their competitiveness in the business.
That sounds interesting. So we are looking forward to see your ecosystem soon, and we hope Daviteq or any solution provider in Vietnam can join to your ecosystem. Okay, back to the utility sector, Mr. Hùng. I have seen EVN Ho Chi Minh City have done many IoT-related projects like smart meter reading, right? Then transformer station monitoring also. So can you share with us some key metrics about the ROI, return on investment? What have you got from the implementation of the IoT solution so far?
Okay, thank you for the questions. In Ho Chi Minh Power Corporations, we define that our slogan is the value customer assistant. So we put up two obligations for us. First of all, we have to increase the customer experience, how they feel. We want to increase how they feel. We want them to feel good when using electricity in Ho Chi Minh City. And by doing that, we have set up put-ups on the traction online for all 90 to 90 services, electrical services online to the online system on mobile applications on the website. And customer can easily let figure the metrics. They just have to set up in the homes and they can collect the service, and then the contact centers can easily contact them and set up plans for fulfill their requirements. That's the first thing. And we are planning to increase the capacities of their AI system so that it can be smarter, it can be more intelligent to serve to handle the request of the customer. We set a plan for the AI system chatbot to handle 10% of the request of the customer in 2020, and for the next following years, we try to increase it to 50%. And then the second part is we have the obligations to make the power grid more reliable. And for doing that, we have set up our maintenance system using the CVM methodologies, which is conditional-based maintenance methodologies. That's what change we're doing with the Unitan Malaysia. Basically, it's maintenance methodologies using the true conditions of the electricals. We put sensors to the device and to collect the data, and we can analyze this. We can estimate that what's wrong with the device, and we can proactively do the maintenance project to that device so that we can we can cut down the power interruptions for the customers.
Yes, thank you. But you have any specific key metrics? For example, when you apply the smart meter reading system, can you review how many percent of labor, for example? Do you have any number? I can share with everybody.
Can you specify the questions?
So, for example, when you apply normally, previously, every month you have people to record the meter, right, for every month. So now you apply the smart meter reading system, especially for big customer like manufacturing factory or big building, for example, like that. So when you apply in the smart meter reading system, automatic reading system, can you review the labor? Okay. So can you
When we start applying the automation meter reading system in a couple years ago, we have reduced like 300 laborers from who's in charge of collecting data and give you the papers, and we have trained them, we have educated them to change them to another versions which is suitable for them. So when we're applying, we can would not cut down, we can change more than 300 people to work in another fields. And back then, in 2012, when we first published our contact centers along with our electronic receipts online, we can change, we can switch more than 400 employees to another positions who is in charge of printing the receipts and bring it into the customers. That's the values from our digital transformations.
Thank you, Mr. Om. So now, Rahul, about the Coca-Cola, can you share with us your roadmap for the next few years for the digital transformation in your enterprise, especially for Vietnam?
Sure. So, from the digital transformation perspective, I think we are seeing a lot of advances in the technology in terms of artificial intelligence and machine learning. So those are the areas that we will focus on, as well as automation through IoT. So for Coca-Cola Vietnam, we are now at a stage where we are collecting information. So we are connecting devices, we are connecting sensors, we are connecting our partners, and we are getting that information. But to analyze and to make sense, you have to give a little more time to let the pattern evolve. I think so that will be from artificial intelligence and machine learning perspective. Those are the areas that we'll be looking at on really micro segmenting and looking at personalization. How do we enable that as an area for us? The second important area is once we then analyze and be able to see the pattern and we see the improvement, then really put it in practice where we can then approach customers in a totally different way. We are still a traditional FMCG, CPG company where we distribute physically to our stores. And as you can see, there's a lot of e-commerce players emerging. So how do we counter that new age technology while keeping essence of what we do as a business? And how do we then transform ourselves to be a fully omni-channel company? And that will be our key goal going forward. Not that we are not there, but we still have a long way to go in terms of be able to fully leverage our ability to predict consumer behavior and to offer products that are highly customized and individualized to his own needs. So those are the areas from technology perspective we will be looking at. From platform perspective, leveraging cloud will be key. We are 100% in cloud already in terms of our infrastructure. So, but as the cloud is evolving, we want to make use of our data lake and with IoT gathering that data, streaming data, and be able to then make use of the big data to drive real-time decision makings. So that also is going to be a key from platform perspective.
Thank you. So talking about the IoT and cloud technology, so mostly the biggest concern from the industry customer is the privacy, the data privacy. So why did you Coca-Cola choose the cloud solution instead of you you can have your on-premise system? Yeah. What the reason?
Yeah, I think for us security is absolutely important before we even take any business decisions. We are leveraging cloud and we are actually investing a lot on cloud security aspect of it. And I do believe that as lots of companies are moving to cloud, and the cloud players such as Microsoft and Amazon, they are investing heavily on the security side. And we are at an inflection point where cloud security is at par or even better in some aspects to on-premise security. And from IoT perspective, there is no other option but to move to cloud because you don't have such huge amount of data that is flowing in. We have to move to cloud. But having said that, we do ensure that security is at most. So we have 3-layer security applied on our Azure framework where everything is secure. So from that perspective, while we are moving to cloud, that's going to be a journey. Security will also play a very, very important part. And that's a good point. For us, security is absolutely important. Because as we put more and more devices, I heard a case study where somebody could hack into a casino data using a fish tank sensor. So you never know what's going to get hacked. So you have to be absolutely sure that you have all the perimeter securities in place. So no matter what device we use, who has access to it, it's secure at the perimeter itself.
Okay, so I think Coca-Cola Vietnam is one of the biggest case study for other industrial customer to refer to apply the cloud technology for IoT solution. Because as per my experience for many years, most of the industrial customer they worry about the data privacy, and they don't want to put data on the cloud. So that's why most of the time they request to have the on-premise system. But you know the on-premise system is very complicated and not cost effective for especially for very large enterprise. Okay, thank you, Mr. Tích. Okay, I have seen that the roadmap of your development for the IoT ecosystem. Maybe this will be done. You can start the project in maybe next year early, or you can tell more about your timeline, your schedule, so that I think the solution provider here can know and then they can join with you.
I think in the next 2 years will be the cornerstone of our transformations, where we are going to engage in the digital transformation in the bigger ways, in not only in the business process but also into our daily operations, in the way how we manage our facility, but also in the way how we are going to engage our customer, like I said earlier. And that's also parallel to that. We also think about, for us, we are not so machines intensive type operations, but we also think beyond to think about how our tenants they can transform themselves. So in that journey, we also look into how we can engage consultants, technology providers, startups, training programs, etc. So that is we need to have the movement of the whole ecosystem to come together. So we cannot only rely on the one activities or one stakeholder in the ecosystem to run alone. Because especially when we think about manufacturing in Vietnam now, not all the companies are big companies. Not all the companies are FDI investment. A lot of them are local manufacturers, SMEs. And in order to do digital transformations, there's a lot of risk and a lot of investment upfront where they may not be able to see the value added at the beginning. So we need to have the support from the government in terms of regulation, in terms of incentive, and the support from training university, academic institutions to come in to educate them, to provide the people with the right skill, etc. And that requires the coordination role of different parties all together to come in. And then that is what we are doing at the moment. We are also trying to be the orchestra for that ecosystem to form around our manufacturing base, especially first in Brazil, before we can launch out to other areas.
Okay, further to your idea about the ecosystem, and I would like to ask you a question about, do you have any suggestion to the government to have your ecosystem or to have end user or solution provider to speed up their digital transformation project?
So I think that's a good question because I see that just now the representative from retail's business solution, he also mentioned that we need to have the movement of the whole value chain, the approach of the whole value chain approach. And I have the experience to study and work in Singapore for more than 10 years, and then I can see how the government in Singapore can approach in a very integrated way. For example, Industry 4.0 or advanced manufacturing, they move from the very high level of the government levels, where they create a council, the future economic councils, and then in that they include many ministries to come together and also many players. For example, earlier last month, I have opportunity to attend the Industrial Transformation Asia Pacific in Singapore. That initiative was headed by EDB, which is the Economic Development Board of Singapore, which is the one who defined the strategy and defined the strategic industry for advanced manufacturing to come in. And then they also put on board A-STAR, which is the national agencies to do research, to support their economic strategy. And then under A-STAR they have SINTEX, which is the Singapore Industrial Manufacturing Technology. So that is the agencies where they do a lot of R&D in the manufacturing, so that they can transfer the technologies to SME in manufacturing in Singapore. And other than that, they also bring on board JTC, which is agency similar to Daviteq, who provide industrial lands to manufacturers. So they also come on board to think about how the industrial estate need to upgrade on what are the stakeholders in the ecosystem they need to bring in into the ecosystem to have manufacturers to upgrade, to move into Industry 4.0. And then they also have Singapore Enterprise, which is the kind of associations of different associations of manufacturing association in Singapore, different industry to come in together. And then we see that, and then one more important thing is Skill Futures Scheme, which is a national initiative to think about how the people still need to transform themselves from the top level, from the C level, to the manager, to the labor, the shop floor workers. So that we can see that different things to come together. Not people alone, not enterprise alone, they can do it, because new things normally take time and normally take investment in R&D. And if you don't de-risk, and that will be very difficult for enterprise to apply.
Yeah. Thank you, President, for your sharing. So I think now we are going to the last minute of this session. I would like to hear some questions from audience. You have any questions, please? Any question, please, before we are going to launch? Okay, thank you. So thank you very much for everybody for this session.